Today, we are discussing the Canadian heroes of our time, and on behalf of this event, we have two special guests here to educate us all on how cancer and disabilities have impacted Canadians in the 21st century. Terry Fox was an 18-year-old from British Columbia when he was diagnosed with osteogenic sarcoma, otherwise known as bone cancer in his right knee. Amputation and chemotherapy left him with an artificial leg and memories of those still suffering from cancer. Rick Hansen was a 15-year-old from British Columbia who was involved in a pickup truck accident where he sustained a spinal cord injury and became paralyzed from the waist down. Now, please give a round of applause for these two courageous individuals. Welcome, Terry and Rick. It is a pleasure having you here today.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Now, how did it all begin?
After I was diagnosed with cancer and my leg got amputated, I was rudely awakened by the feeling that surrounded and flowed through the cancer clinic. There were faces with brave smiles and ones who had given up smiling. There were feelings of hopeful denial and despair. My quest would not be a selfish one, as I could not leave knowing these faces and feelings would still exist even though I was set free from mine. That is when I decided that somewhere the hurting must stop. In doing so, I ran across Canada to raise money for cancer research and called this journey the Marathon of Hope.
How about you, Rick?
After my accident, I endured 7 months of rehabilitation in Vancouver where I slowly learned how to deal with my new life. I used sports as a coping method, but everywhere I went, I saw people with disabilities being marginalized. I knew that someone had to do something to show the world that people of all abilities could participate and contribute as a productive member of their community, so I decided to be that someone. I undertook a similar journey like Terry's to prove the potential of people with disabilities by circling the world in my wheelchair. I called this the Man in Motion.
What was your mission?
My mission was to work to improve the lives of people with disabilities by breaking down barriers, changing attitudes, and inspiring an inclusive society where people with disabilities can reach their full potential. In 1985, I set out on a journey called the Man in Motion, where I wheeled over 40,000 kilometers to 34 countries and 4 continents for 26 months, raising awareness about the potential of people with disabilities and working to find a cure. While the Man in Motion World Tour ended in 1987, my lifelong journey to make a positive difference in the lives of others was just the beginning. My mission, however, was to fund innovative cancer research, and it began with my Marathon of Hope that took place in 1980 with the simple objective of informing Canadians of the importance of finding a cure for cancer. With fierce determination, I ran an average of 42 kilometers every day for 143 days, from St. John's, Newfoundland to Thunder Bay, Ontario. Sadly, the cancer spread to my lungs, and I was forced to end the run on September 1st, 1980.
Who inspired you to support this cause and why?
My high school coach, Bob Redford, inspired me by challenging me in wheelchair sports so that I could achieve my goal of becoming an athlete in the Paralympics and inspire others around the world in my condition to do the same. I was inspired by the strength of cancer patients who kept fighting to survive and overcome this disease. Most importantly, it was Rick Hansen who invited me to get back into sports and continue the fight to end cancer.
What are some important contributions you have made for Canada?
I dreamed of raising $1 a day for every Canadian, which would have been a total of $24 million. The Terry Fox Marathon of Hope Fund totaled $24.17 million. With the help of my foundation, I invested approximately $451 million in cancer research, and hopefully this will help to reduce this disease not only on a national level, but also internationally. My contribution was a part of my Man in Motion tour, which raised a total of $26 million. The money was then used towards spinal cord research, and after the tour, I started a foundation which has raised more than $200 million in counting.
How do you think your message has impacted Canadians?
Canadians describe me as a hero, as I believe that I further helped to join Canada together at a time when Canada was growing farther and farther apart. My foundation helped to unify the nation from east to west, and through my Marathon of Hope and later the National Terry Fox Run, the country is truly connected on something we can share. I think my message impacted Canadians as I began to see a positive change in people's perceptions and willingness to interact with those who have disabilities after introduction to my program. As a result, individuals who suffered from a disability felt more accepted and others began to understand the reality of these limitations, which I believe further helped to reduce other factors like discrimination.
Lastly, how do you intend Canadians to continue your legacy?
I hope that they conduct a series of runs in locations across Canada to commemorate my marathon achievement and continue to fund cancer research for those still suffering. I just wish that people would realize that anything is possible if you try. Dreams are made if people try. Well, I hope that those who have a disability are able to reach their full potential and follow their aspirations without being marginalized. Thus, the goal you set must be challenging, but at the same time, it must be realistic and attainable. It is important to focus on your ability, not your disability. We can all make a difference. Every person has something special to contribute. So, if you have a dream, you need to have the courage to try and make it a reality.
Well, that was inspiring. That concludes our interview with Terry Fox and Rick Hansen. Thank you again for joining us and sharing your journey with us.
I even believe that one day the wheelchair will be something you'll see in a museum.
One morning I woke up and I couldn't get out of bed, and that day they told me I had a malignant tumor and that I had to have my leg amputated in 4 days. And I decided after my year and a half of chemotherapy that I'd try and run across Canada and raise as much money as I could for the Canadian Cancer Society.
Bits and pieces you offer of your life.